a basic rhythm, and it involves dancing, and it's just pure enjoyment music. And when you think about it, you go back in the early days, and it was then just basically drums and bass, and from there on they've added extra instruments, and they put it across as like a mass music. You can't really say whether it will become more commercial, because every day it changes, it just gets better and better. You take, for instance, Marley. Now you listen to his first album, and that is, it's a very, very good album, but you listen to them as you progress through the catalogue. They just get better and better and better. It's, in fact, when you work it out, not really classed as reggae music, it's Jamaican music. It's a thing on its...
Reggae music, and you can find out all about it on Monday.
The magic music of Marley. Insistent music that doesn't quit. Reggae, real reggae. The reggae revolution. Driving home, nailed to the ground sound pounding around Western Springs Monday. Reggae, music to move mountains by. Music to make love by. Music not to let pass by. Don't miss Bob Marley at the Springs Monday, 3 p.m. Tickets $8.70 at the St. James or at the gate from noon Monday.
In the music business, reggae's reached maturity. It's now a music to make money by, and consequently, almost any problem can be solved.
Hello, Ray. Merton Sidor. We've got a few problems. One being that when Marley's group get off the plane on Sunday, Bob carries his own chef. Now, what we've done at the White Heron is they have a chalet organised where they all eat. Now, this chef will require a fresh food market and health food stores. What they do is all 26 in the party eat in this chalet. Chef prepares special Jamaican foods to their standards, and we're going to have to supply this fresh food, being Easter on a Sunday.
You got stuck in the mud? What?
Well, you weren't kidding, were you?
Don Taylor is Bob Marley's personal manager and business partner. Today, he's got a problem. Auckland's outdoor rock venue, Western Springs, has had 2 days of torrential rain. With the concert less than 48 hours away, more wet weather could halve the hoped-for attendance of 20,000. Don Taylor always travels a few days ahead of Bob Marley to take care of the business. A fellow Jamaican, he got out of Trenchtown at 16 and went to live in the United States. Don Taylor spent most of his life in the music business and has managed artists like Jimmy Cliff and Marvin Gaye, and at one time was with Tamla Motown. He first met Bob Marley in Jamaica in 1972 and sensed a performer of hypnotic magnetism. They've been together ever since.
Yeah, this looks okay. And that's going to be the monitor board, right? The mixing board. One of the things that we've got to do is we've got to have good security because we don't want anyone climbing.
We know that.
Okay, because it's happened to us before.
$50,000 worth of equipment out there, we don't need people on
it. Success doesn't mean power or stardom. Success means that you can feed your kids, you can sleep, you can eat, and you can wear, and that's what it's all about. I think that's why we try to be a little more relaxed and a little more available and a little more simple, you know. When I was a kid, it was only ghetto people who were Rastas. I mean, no middle class, or if you're even poor, they had a thing in Jamaica that, oh, you can be poor and decent. If you went home and told your mother you're a Rasta, that was the end of you. They just wrote you off. Over the years, Rasta has filtered into the middle class, has filtered into the rich, where the Deputy Prime Minister of Jamaica, his son is a Rasta.
The actual tie-up with, say, reggae and what your political scene in Jamaica, is there a tie-up?
My feeling, okay, it's not a fact, it's not anything, but I feel that the reason why reggae became tied up with the political scene is because that was the only way that the poor people had to get their thing across to the politicians. You see, politics in Jamaica has become a very devious thing. And this is the only way the poor people, this was their way of getting their lyrics across. Now, the politicians found out that this was very important to the people, so they started to relay with music. Like, I think our Prime Minister made an album, you know, and because he felt that this was the way to get to the people. Well, you see, Jamaica is a funny thing that if you come out of an area that's very poor and you're successful, then you're a prime example for the politician to say, look at so-and-so, and because of that, the politicians, all of them, want to be your friends, you know, will say, oh, look at Bob, look at this, but you just have to maintain your thing, that you don't let them use you, you know. Bob has a lyric in a song that he says, never let a politician do you a favor, because he'll own you forever. And I really believe that, not just in Jamaica, but anywhere in the world.
The Jamaican political situation is the archetypal third world struggle, and there's an uneasy link between the country's politics and music. The politics are highly populist and conducted on such a personal level that the slightest action of a folk hero like Bob Marley seems bound to be treated as significant. Many of Marley's songs are protests at the starvation, mass illiteracy and high unemployment, which is a lot of Jamaica's black population. It was this relationship between reggae lyrics and a seemingly political stance that almost cost Marley his life. It was December 3, 1976. The time, 9 p.m. The place, Marley's home in Kingston. In a few days, he was to appear at a rally organised by the People's National Party. It was election time, and Michael Manley, the Prime Minister, was seeking re-election. Marley was eating in the kitchen with his manager, Don Taylor, when a car drew up outside the house. The house was then riddled with bullets, and the car took off. The gunmen were never located.
I almost died. I got 4 shots. I was very serious. I was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital, really. Bob got a shot in his hand, and Rita got a shot. But, you know, we overcame that, and it made us more like collective security. You know, I think each of us as individuals who have been through that ordeal.
Must have scared the hell out of you at the same time.
Well, it happened so fast that you didn't get scared. It happened, by the time you got scared, you were already shot, you know, so it just happened. We're in the house and it happened. It just came up. So it's really, you didn't have a chance to really react on it.
Even though Bob Marley's far from a household name in New Zealand, some people here still refer to it as Reggie music, he was given the usual traditional welcome, usually reserved for heads of state and the like.
Marley, I welcome you here for the Maori people. I hope that your stay in Aotearoa, New Zealand, will be a fine one. We're so glad to have a distinguished visitor like you in amongst us in Manawanui. So no reira, tēnā koe. In other words, greetings. No reira.
Like many Rastas, Bob Marley talks in a thick Jamaican patois, which at times is difficult to understand. He starts out talking about reggae music.
Yeah, Jamaican people play it. Yeah, it's like a musician from Jamaica play that music, you know. And like a musician from, you might find a black musician from America play the funk or blues, you know. And people don't play reggae music.
Can it be copied quite successfully outside of Jamaica?
Well, you see, where I feel about the music, it can be copied, you know, but it's not copied to it. It's the feel, you know? It carry a feel where if you ask plenty musicians, them know it, but them can't do it.
Did you always intend being just a reggae musician, or had you played rock music and soul music before?
In a sense, we really listen to a lot of music, you know. I mean, the first time, just to listen to music that play on the radio. Not that we couldn't afford to buy records, so we listen to the radio. And anything the radio play is that we hear. So I wasn't really into them things. I was really into, like, I call it spiritual music, you know, till it get more revolutionized, you know.
Being a Rasta?
Well, I've been a Rasta from ever since, you know, but it's not how long I've been a Rasta, it's how long it takes to grow up. Because what he is what he is, from beginning to the end. You can never change, because if you even adapt things later out, you won't filter right out. So we're just Rasta from creation, you know. It's not an easy thing to explain in an educated standard way. Still you have people who can do it. But me is a common sense man. That means when me explain things, me explain it in a very simple way. That means if I explain it to a baby, the baby will understand too, you know. So we are saying now, like, and this new name shall be dreadful among the heathen.
How important are the dreadlocks?
This?
Is that
This is
part
my
of being
identity,
a Rasta?
man. Yeah, this is my identity.
Do you have to have dreadlocks if you're a Rasta?
But if he's a Rasta, then you wouldn't see why you shouldn't have it, because then you don't know freedom is freedom and you don't have to bow, you do whatever you like. But it's not a thing to say, well, I would like to be a Rasta, but I wouldn't like to have this. You dig?
Mm.
It can't be a thing like that. It has to be a fullness where you yourself know that it's God creator and I don't want no life, no obligation. That means you own man. That's the first time you own yourself. You do what you want to do. Anything people want to say about you, you don't care, because, you know what I mean? Even them who say it still have a comeback, you see them have to do the same thing.
Perhaps the only accurate way to gauge reggae's increasing popularity is through album sales. And Bob Marley and the Wailers continue to score numerous gold and platinum records. It's the same old scene in whichever country he visits.
I'd like to present to you and the Wailers 4 gold albums. A gold here being the equivalent of 1 million seller in the United States. A gold for Rastaman Vibration, Live, Babylon by Bass and Natty Dread. And also a platinum for Kaya, which is the equivalent of a 2 million seller in the United States.
Obviously, Marley seems to be making a lot of money. And no one but his accountant, who travels with the band, knows exactly how much. Marley's adamant, though, that most of his earnings will be channeled into building a hospital in Ethiopia. Perhaps the most controversial aspect of Rastafarianism is the use of marijuana as a central part of the philosophy. Officially named ganja, it's colloquially described by the Rastas as herb, and Bob Marley is said to smoke a pound a week. It's outlawed in Jamaica, and a convicted smoker can expect an 18-month jail sentence.
The more you accept herb is the more you accept Rastafari. You dig what I say? We who accept herb, herb is important, but herb is more important to the people who don't accept it yet, because that is the reality. I mean, it's not so well then it's something that you crave, but you check it in a sense and say, herb. Herb is a plant. I mean, Herbs are good for everything. Why these people who want to do so much good for everyone, who call themselves governments and this and that, why them say you must not use the herb? You see? And we check that and we can't find, we just see them just say, no, you mustn't use it because it make you rebel. Against what? Against men who won't crave, because them crave for the things like say, them have some material things and them want to captivate your mind and tell you, say, well, you have to work and put you on pension and him keep it all. So herb make you look for yourself, and instead of you want to work for the man, you want to be one of the man too. Not in the sense of how him is, but in the sense of why should you have to bow to these things.
Do you have to smoke to be a Rasta?
No, man. But in this time, I mean, like, for instance, you're reaching a sense where you're strong enough, can take a little smoke. So when all them car pass, although you live in the city, you don't hear it because you're thinking. Differently if you just live so. Then, you know what I mean, the whole world confused you and you're worried and you don't have no time to think. And herb is a thing that give you a little time for yourself so you can live, if you use it.
What about alcohol?
Alcohol make you drunk, man. It don't make you meditate, it just make you drunk. When you drink alcohol, you don't meditate. You're more get-headed. Herb is more a consciousness.
It must create problems for you, though, when you go different parts of the world where perhaps it's outlawed, as it were.
Well, it's just like what we're saying, is that I don't care. This is the people who make it outlaw, it's but a few. Majority of the people on the earth want it. And it's just a few because guns and prisons and bad life treat you bad. So people kinda... But we want some people power. And the only people power is Rastafari.
3 hours before the concert, and the crowd masses outside the stadium. By delaying the opening of the gates till now, the promoters have created a problem, which results in some fans missing the first part of the concert. Marley will never hear about that, nor the fact that some people were asked to pay $9 instead of the advertised $8.75 to eliminate messing with loose change and to speed up the flow through the turnstiles. Essentially, Marley's a quiet man. A difficult man to reach because he's got no interest in the hype vibe, which preoccupies so many rock stars. He upset many New Zealand journalists by refusing interviews. Not because of a sudden whim, but because really he isn't interested in that type of thing.
Media. You see, if I run a newspaper, I would do a lot of interviews because what I want to say, I would get it across. But when I talk to someone who have to go to someone and then I'm hesitant to fit up their business, and if it's too militant, them try to spread a type of propaganda. I mean, media, you know, the media, you know, media is a different game. Media is a media control.
You were badly hurt once because of what seemed to be some sort of political type shooting in your home country, Jamaica. Do you see dabbling in politics a good idea for someone in your position?
Well, is it dabbling in politics? I don't know what that is. You see, stand up and talk for my rights. I know what that is. See? And I don't care who the guy is. Because my right is my right, like my life. That means if I can say, I don't want that or I don't want this. When I check it out, the biggest man was a baby one time. So I don't know where him get all of these big ideas, want to be rulers over people. You see? And help enforce devilism. Can't dig it. Can't take it. We're a rebel, man. We're revolutionaries, you know?
Is that the way you'd see yourself?
Yeah, I see myself as a revolutionary who don't have no help and not take no bribe from no one to fight it single-handed with music.